Common sense is not that common.
Not teenagers. That's true.
And then some kids one time were asking me how old I am, and I'm 57. And I told them that in 1950, I saw Elvis play when I was in high school. And this group of kids, no one batted an eye. They're like, oh, that's so cool. I'm like, so how old would that make me? And they're like, well, I don't know.
73, because that's what I am.
I thought they were going to say, who's Elvis?
Right. I had a kid ask me one time if I knew of this band called Beatles.
That's the fun of working with teenagers.
Oh, yeah. Like not even the Beatles. He was like Beatles. You ever heard of that band before? Sounds familiar.
But before your time.
What's a turntable?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have one of those. And a reel-to-reel tape recorder too.
And when I trim, I always make a reference to like going like a record needle across the thing. And before kids didn't know what that was, but now records are coming back, so you know what I'm talking about.
They're called vinyls.
There we go.
That's the thing I do.
Good. So when you're doing the sea turtle thing I do, when you're making a vase or anything other than a bowl, like if I make a bowl, I run my hands kind of out and up to start the curve of that bowl. But for everything else, I want a nice flat bottom. So when I'm coming across, I undercut the back of the wall, the bottom of the wall there. So here's my floor and there's my wall. I get in there and I undercut that. So now that's that clay that's making my pot heavy at the bottom. And I've already now got it moving up the wall of this. It's like,
Yeah.
Are you just for balancing? Are you like functioning?
it's just to get my hands in that position. My thumbs aren't doing anything. They're just down there like this.
Yeah. Just another way.
Yeah. Yeah, like people do it all different ways. I don't like to spread my thumbs open because I start to lose control. But this way I'm locked down, my elbows are down, all the strength of both hands is working, you know.
Leverage at your thighs.
Yeah. So I'm pushing inward and upward with my sponge. So the white clay is pretty soft, and so I wedged the brown clay and the white clay together to make this, because the brown clay was much stiffer. And if anybody throws mugs, like Christy and I both make mugs, and hers are better than mine, but we use like 1 pound of clay for a good size mug. Christy will take that 1 pound of clay and make something this big. It's amazing. But then they shrink to a regular sized mug when you're firing them.
You ever throw them off the hump?
Oh yeah.
Oh, the cup is totally beyond me. I just can't focus on it.
You want to see out the hump? That's like for making little teacups and like little small things, shot glasses. Little bowls off the humps, the way to go. So I can do that too. Okay, so this is going to be a big round pot. And ideally, like if you're following the physics of it, it's going to get, you know, thinner as it stretches out. So this middle part of your wall ideally would get a little thicker and then taper thinner. I don't do that. I think that's probably recommended, but
So you keep it all the same thickness?
it's pretty much the same thickness. Yeah. So I mean, if you practice making just straight cylinders, like that's the basis of everything you're going to make. That's not a bowl or a plate or something. So just pulling up your walls, and then it's always a good idea to take a wire tool and slice it in half and see what your walls look like. Once you think like, oh, I've got everything up from the bottom that I can get, and then you do that and you realize, oh, it's still thick at the bottom. So
It's very difficult to sacrifice something that you finally have pulled out.
oh yeah.
It's only mud.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's gotten so expensive.
I know.
Wedging. Learn how to wedge.
Yeah. Clay used to be cheap, and now it's expensive. So one thing Christy and I like to do is whenever we travel, we collect natural clays and rocks that look interesting. So we go up Highway 395 all the time, and we'll drive out into the desert and find like places where it rained and like clay has pooled, and then we dig that up. And a lot of these glazes are made from that clay because most of it melts at a lower temperature than cone 10. So so you can just take it, make a slip out of it. Yeah. So that one she just held up. Going out 395. If you're familiar with like Lone Pine up there, south of Lone Pine is Alancha. We drove way off in the middle of the desert, and it was after that big storm came through, and there was a puddle where the rain had like kind of like made a bunch of clay kind of run down. We scooped it up, and just that clay with nothing else, just clay on bisqueware did that. Okay, so I'll start shaping this out. So I'm going to use my rib to kind of support it, and I'm going with my Italian hand like that, and I'm coming up and then around like that to start. And I kind of start the bottom of the curve by digging that tip of the rib in. Coming up and around, and over, like that. So the trick for if you want a small top on a big round pot, you want to keep your shoulder not like this right away. You want to kind of keep it tapered into a teardrop at the top for as long as you can, and then as you bring the top in, it naturally just that shoulder just kind of falls down to just make your round pot. And I like holding the rib on the outside first to kind of, it compresses the wall to make it stronger. And it supports it as I'm stretching it out. Oh, and somebody was asking about that, the glaze that I call Starry Night, one that looks like a Van Gogh painting. If you want a recipe for that, it's one that I make. I can give you the recipe.
Wow, very gorgeous. We'll find out. Get the recipe.
Yeah.
Okay. Get the recipe and give it to them and say, do that.
The thing that makes it have all those crazy sparkles in it is a mineral called ilmenite. And ilmenite got mined out a while ago. There's no ilmenite you can buy, but magnetite does the same exact thing. But then I have a cousin who works in a quarry, a rock quarry up in Northern California, and he told me that ilmenite is one of the byproducts of their rock quarry. So he gave me a big bag of ilmenite, and it weighs, I mean, a little piece. It's the heaviest stuff I've ever felt. So I could give some of that to Shar if you guys want to make that glaze.
Absolutely.
So now I'm using my my flexible rib out here, and I'm bending it as I come up and around. And it's scraping the slip off as I do this, which is a good idea. When you're making big pieces, kind of get in the habit of scraping the slip off as you go, because that slip is just sinking into your clay, making it softer. And now I'm going to use this from the inside. Push that inside out.
Have you ever done it with two ribs?
Yeah. if I had a second flexible rib, I would be doing that. So I would do this on the inside, and I'd have another one on the outside, and come up like that. And that really compresses your wall really well.
I've seen people blow out the sides like that. If they started from the top down, is there
Yeah.
any advantage or disadvantage?
I've always done it from the bottom up because I feel like everything's kind of like bringing the clay up, and from the top down. I know the same thing. I've seen people do this, and I think it's the same, but I don't know. I just mentally I feel like I'm pushing my clay down instead of up. And sometimes I'll constrict the neck around my wrist, because if that neck starts getting out like this, it's going to be really hard to bring it back in. So kind of stop every now and then and make sure that your neck, and I do it like this. I don't know if this is familiar to you. I'll make a heart with my fingers. So my thumb, my knuckle, and my middle finger are what's constricting the clay. And the theory is, it's as opposed to 4, I'm keeping it as round as I can as I constrict it in. So it's holding it in a circle as much as possible. And the trick to this is moving your hands like just imperceptibly slow, like they're just barely coming together slowly. And by doing that now, my clay gets thicker. So now I have a thicker little rim there, and I can do it with finger pull. So this will be my sponge now. And I'll give it a little,
Someone donated.
thank you very much, perfect. So I'll do a little finger pull, I'll pinch that clay and bring it up and in like that. Again, I'm keeping it like that. So now that's my danger spot right there. That's where it's going to want to cave in. So I'm going to start below it. Let's get my hand back in there. Roll that up. Get that into more of a teardrop again. So you're kind of taking this and pushing it in and lifting this.
Where did you say the danger spot was?
It's where, right, like the shoulder came out. There's like a little like that. And then above it would be a soft spot that wanted to cave in. So when it's doing that, you just have to kind of push that back in, that little lump I made, and get it to more of an even curve. Because an even curve, like on a bowl or one of these, if it's a soft, smooth curve, it'll hold a big shape. But once you have a little change in direction, that change in direction is just where it's going to want to fly. So we'll try to go a little rounder with this now. So then once you like the shape of the shoulders and everything, then you can just start finishing this off. And a mistake I see people do with this is they constrict that neck in, and the neck rolls over their fingers, and then they start lifting it, and it stretches that clay and just rips it in half. So keep the very top the smallest part. And I could do one of those little finger pulls, constricting that in. And now I've gone to my fingertips. And I notice you have mirrors in front of your wheels over there. That helps. Shapes like this, like you always think, oh yeah, it's nice and round, and then you stand back and you're like, oh, it's not round, it's got a little dent in it or something. So that mirror definitely helps with that. So coming together.
I haven't seen you set the rim. Are you just doing it without saying it? Or?
Yeah, sorry. Each time, like I do a pull or anything, I let it glide through my fingers, and I make a little bridge over the top, and I just give it a little compression. That's. So these little finger pulls, I'm kind of going across, grabbing, and then coming up. So kind of like laying that shoulder down a little bit more each time. And if you have any, like a little bit of unevenness in your walls, it'll get exaggerated as you keep pushing this in, and then you'll be slicing your top off. This is where you don't want to realize that you need to get your hand back inside.
And you want to be able to have all that water out of you.
Yeah.
That has to have been done.
So then, like now, I'm pushing on that shoulder a little bit. And see, now I've got that little dent right there that I can't get inside of there. So the only way to get that dent pushed up is to blow in it and try to blow it like a balloon. So.
I've seen the videos.
And two-sword expand.
Thank you very much.
I'll live with a dent.
CPR for cleft.
What's that?
CPR for cleft.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've seen it on video.
Yeah, I saw a video of a guy breathing in and the whole pot sinks in and then he blows out. It was the biggest thing. And I didn't see this, but I heard of a workshop, maybe it's an urban legend, where a guy was throwing a pot of this white porcelain, and then it was done. He bit the top of the pot off and ate it.
Oh.
And it turned out he was throwing a piece of cream cheese.
How fun.
Right? And I'm always yelling at kids not to put their chamois cloth in their water because it's just going to get lost in the slop clay. That's what I was just doing there. Pull this guy over a little bit.
When I make one of those someday, I'm going to quit pottery because I don't be able to do anything better than that.
There's a little,
That's really beautiful.
only part of the way that this line, I don't know.
That little line, I think that's slips.
But it's only on part of it.
Okay, thanks.
That was bugging you, huh?
I think she's planning on sneaking that bowl out of here. when she goes to bed.
And then something like this, I probably would flip it over and trim it, but obviously you can't flip it onto that little neck. So you probably have chucks in here for trimming, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and then the coolest trick ever. What's that?
Griffin grip,
Well, the give and grip,
that wouldn't work with that.
yeah, because that would be sitting on there. I mean, the give and grip has those little arms that hold it up, but a chuck I think is just
Yeah.
easier. But the coolest trick is if you have an iPhone, you flip your pot upside down into the chuck, and I usually put a little coil of soft clay so it kind of squishes down into the chuck, and then your phone has a bubble level on it. So you put your phone on top of your pot, and it just bing, you can get it perfectly level. And then once it's level, then you just shove the chuck around to get it centered. I thought that was so fun when I saw that.
Beautiful.
My phone has a level, but I never thought to use it. I just brought in a little tiny level.
Yeah.
You can buy a bubble level for $2-3.
Oh yeah. Instead of a $1,000 phone.
Hey, if one toy is good, two are better.
Okay, let's see.
Nice. Hey, Susan, he just made spots on it.
I know.
Let's see. Is there a towel that I can dry my hands with?
Paper towel.
Maybe it's soda.
Yeah, the fluting tools are great.
Look at that.
Yeah.
I'm still crooked.
And again, the entire reason I can do this is I'm not using my arm strength at all. I'm using the leverage of my entire body weight through this arm and leaning into it. So if the clay's doing that, I just anchor my arm and I lean into it.
Oh,
Like that. And then I call this my karate chop end. So for beginners, I have them grab their thumb, so your hands are anchored on each other, and that fleshy part of your right hand is pushing on the corner. So both hands are pushing away from you, like that. And so I'm grabbing my thumb, so I'm steady, and then I slowly let go, like that. If you let go too fast, you put a big wobble into it. So, and if it's like, if it's doing this, it's always that elbow, So you bring that elbow in, and it's still doing it. You bring it in further, and you get your chair right up to the edge of the wheel. And if you have shorter legs, we have like wooden blocks that we put your left foot on. So you just lean down. Your head should be right over the clay, and the pressure's way down here in the back of my hand, and then pushing on it like that.
how many kids do you have in a class at a time?
I have 6 classes, and each class has 37 kids.
Wow. And
How
that's,
long does a class last?
that's exploitation.
Until he's annoyed enough.
We have 100-minute classes. Yeah.
Where did you teach?
Huntington Beach High School on Main Street there. Oilers.
Is that an elective?
It's an elective, yeah. When I first got hired, there was no class size limit, and I had 45 kids in a class, and it was just crazy.
Do you have kind of wheels?
We have 22 wheels. We have like something like that. So, so when you're karate chopping the top down, another mistake people make is, so you bring your clay up. If you're pushing it down and it starts making a mushroom, it means that that left hand's not leaning into it enough, and your right hand's too flat. It's got to be angled on the corner, so you're holding that mushroom in. So that left hand's bending the whole thing away from you as you push down, like that. Then you get
Could
the
you just say
center.
that again? So it means your left hand is not.
So your left hand's not pushing into it hard enough. You should be bending that cone away from you when you push down with your left hand. And then your right hand shouldn't be dead flat on top. It should be pushing between the center and the edge on your side at an angle. So the idea is that the top is rounded. The highest point should always be the middle, like that. So you don't want to be like that. You want to be like that. So right hand is angling, making that a rounded top, like that. And that hand's holding the whole thing steady. The other big beginner mistake is when you're bringing it up, intuitively it seems like you want to lift it, right? But that just chops it in half. Like if you're scooping it, then it just chops it in half. So instead of that, your hands are anchored and you're squeezing the clay, and it's like a big tube of toothpaste, and you're squishing it and the toothpaste goes up. So if you just squish and let go, and then go up a little, squish, let go, that's essentially what you're doing as you come up, instead of scooping it and trying to lift it. So you squish it like that. Bend away.
Your left hand prevents the mushroom from forming.
Exactly, yeah, your left hand is the key to this whole thing. Okay. Oh, good. Into a mushroom, and I'm smashing it with my right hand, and I kind of roll it over. So now it's this low, shallow mound. Like that. And then I want to get it even flatter. I'm going to make that little blue tray with a swirl in it. So now I'm gonna just push this mound down. So I'll put my fist on top and hold my hand steady. Use the fleshy part of my hand, push down, and then come toward me, like that. And sometimes I'll put my sponge in my hand, so I'm just dribbling water on it as I go, so I don't have to keep putting water on the clay. Okay, so there's the start of my little disc, and I can make it nice and flat with my rib. Yeah. And then want to put a swirl in it. So I'll just use my finger. Yeah. Okay.
That's about 3/8 of an inch thick.
That is, yeah, we'll go with that.
Not invited back, huh?
I mean, it was great to watch. He was an amazing potter.
Kids love it. That's
Oh, kids loved it, yeah. Okay, so I'm cutting this
There were
off.
like tears in headlights, like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah. And then he also talked to them about how like getting your clay dead center is not the most important thing because, you know, in his mind he can just like and throw something and just fix a little wobble and throw it off. But then I have to tell him like getting centered is very important. Okay, so I'm gonna pick that up and I'm gonna stretch it, and like a wooden table. I'll do it on this side. Way to go. I think that should work. So. And then the key to this is when you throw it, it's really got to be at an angle. If it goes straight down, then it's just going to stick. This one is quite sticky. Let's see.
There you have it. It's there forever.
That's pretty sucky. Let me cut under that.
What is that?
It's too different.
Is it like drywall?
Like drywall.
Yeah, a drywall cement board that has to go in the bathrooms, that works really well.
Okay. So we got a little oval going here. And then for this dish, you could heat gun this, dry it a little bit before you start manipulating it. But the to get that shape, I took a little knife. I'm cutting a little dart there. A little dart there. Picking those up. Put that together. Again, clean, dry hands and a much less sticky piece of clay. Like I would heat gun this a little or I'd blow dry it before doing what I'm doing. And then bringing that up and just kind of, you can put a little slip on there and just overlap them a little. Give it a little pinch. Like that. So it turns it into a little boat. And then to support the outside, a little clay.
Yeah, we're sticking out of your sculpture.
I was thinking the same thing. That was where his hands were headed. Whoop. Messy looking blob of clay over there.
Yeah, right. So a little freeform, kind of organic little boat clay thing, something like that. And then with leather hard, going around and sponging those edges. And then the little handles.
Handles will always
Handles.
make your pot.
Like a boat. Yeah, kind of like those little handles on there.
Handle clean.
Excellent.
Give everything handles.
There we go. Cool.
Great.
You know, off center like that.
We have big pens.
So this one is it's fairly off center. So I'll just take a little ball of clay, and I'm going to try to do it without disturbing as much of that design as I can. So let's see, the cell is right there, which is too bad because that's my favorite part of the whole thing.
My favorite part.
Yeah, like this thing would have made a really cool big tray, I think. We'll do this. Thank you very much. So I'm just kind of compressing it down like that. Guess that could be a big knockdown for a bit. Now this could be an interesting like kind of chip and dip bowl.
Yeah.
I could make that into a bowl. This could be like where your chips and stuff go in here. Press that down.
So do you let the tray part dry a little bit, or do you kind of not want it to dry, so it's kind of...
You want it to be wet so the clays will smash into each other. And now I'm taking my sponge and just compressing it from the center outward. Which, since I started with a kind of a not perfectly centered chunk of clay, it throws out that little kind of like organic edge. I can do that. Press that down. And then I can do a little spiral in it. That could just be like a wall hanging.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So this one was fist fired, and then it was dipped in a white glaze, and then on a banding wheel. So the dark blue is cobalt, and then underneath all this stuff, there's a little yellow line that was teal. This is the cobalt, the chrome oxide. Iron oxide mixed with a little rutile. The lighter brown, I think, was iron oxide that was just really thin. And then this stuff is, you can, after you do a layer of designs of oxides, you can put a wax design over that. And then when the wax dries, then you can go in and do more washes with oxides, and it will stick everywhere except where that wax is protecting what's underneath it. So you can just go to town playing around with these things.
You said that the first one is white.
Yeah.
Dip.
Yeah, dip in white glaze.
And whatever the color that you mentioned, those are oxide?
Those are the oxides,
Okay.
which they're stirring up right now.
Some of them put it, they have like eggshell.
Yeah.
You want me to glaze up
Sure,
for
yeah.
you?
So Christy will glaze that in the eggshell, and then we're stirring up some oxides. We've got the wax here. And we'll just play around with that on a banding wheel. So you get this centered on your banding wheel. And then I'll, as I do this, I'll kind of hold it up and show you what's happening, because you can't see it back. But what I'm going to do is, so it's a layer of eggshell glaze, and then usually I'll start with like little banding lines, like, you know, on the rim. So let's see. Let's go teal and iron oxide. Oh, that's a good idea. Little whisks in there. Okay, so I'll do the rim. that. One in the middle. And it's like, it's not a machine technique, you know, it's like, it's kind of free form. So like little things like, you know, your line doesn't come together exactly. I think that's fine. Let's try a little black copper. So I'm gonna take this brush and I'm just gonna tap it, doink, 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 like that, in this little edge. And when you do when you're doing a banyan wheel, if you kind of spin the brush as it's painting, it'll kind of be a more even line than just holding it in one spot. There's a guy on YouTube, a potter named, first name might be soon, but his last name is McColl, M-C-C-O-L-L, I believe. And he has videos where he really explains this technique really well. He talks about like what each of the oxides does and how to do this technique with or without wax. Okay, so now we're at a little black dots, so just tap, tap, tapping the brush sideways. Cobalt material. So cobalt's a very strong blue. It used to be expensive, but now it's crazy expensive.
We just got some and it was crazy expensive.
Yeah. Cobalt.
But you don't have to apply a lot.
Right, it just a little goes a long
Little,
way. It's
yes.
they're very strong colorants.
Okay. Because people are inclined to paint with the oxide,
Yeah,
which isn't
yeah. If
not
you
what
want
we want.
if you want a blue bowl, use blue glaze. You wouldn't want to do
Absolutely.
like blue oxide on the whole thing. And the chrome is a super strong color.
Very. And so you like the oxides to be quite watery?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want them thick like slip at all.
I was running a bit low, but
They should
I
be
think-
they should be quite watery. Yeah.
Yes.
And chrome is a very refractory mineral. It melts at a really high level, a high temperature. So sometimes when you brush it on your glaze, it comes out dry on the surface.
Yes.
It doesn't melt in. So if you mix Guernsey borate
Yes.
into your chrome, it
it'll
makes,
help flux.
yeah,
or
exactly.
Melt it.
So is that in that chrome?
I used to put it in. I don't know about now. I don't make them. But we really need, instruction on this.
Yes.
Because it's not paint on the see.
Okay, so we got that.
Right?
And then I'm gonna do, and that is somebody who cannot draw at all. That's like
Yeah.
not a drawer.
So you did that on the waxy eggshell white.
Yes.
Can you do it on the shiny one too? We have a 1, 2, 3, 4
Yeah,
set. Okay.
so,
And you could do it on the creams as well.
yeah, any kind of a light colored
Both,
base works the best. But like the just straight rutile, if you glaze your piece in Temecula and then do a design with straight rutile on top of that Temecula, it turns the Temecula gold wherever you paint the rutile.
What was that, rutile?
Yeah, rutile.
Just rutile?
Just rutile.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'll write all this. Oh, I know Pat is making copious notes.
Just trying.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna wax this middle part here. Go out on the edge a little. Okay, so I waxed this, and some of it didn't get waxed. There's little streaks where the wax didn't cover, but that's okay. I'm gonna use that as part of my design. And then I'm gonna throw some more. We're gonna let that wax dry, and then we'll put some more stuff on there, and it'll stick where the wax isn't, and it won't stick where the wax is. And then and you can wipe off the little beads. We'll see what that does.
Wash this out.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so the wax, you have to wash it out of your brush with the hottest water you can find to melt all that wax out.
I don't know. We'll find out. I might need a hand.
What is this now?
I'm gonna do a little donut base.
Oh, okay.
So Christy makes these actual thrown donuts, if you've seen those, where it's like, it's a hollow tube, like an inner tube, and then she stands them up and turns them into these really neat planters for airplanes and stuff.
I'm assuming you've watched the Great Pottery Throwdown?
Yes. So good.
It's a great show.
After the first season of
Great
that,
pottery throwdown.
I thought, I could have won this. I think I could win this show.
Um,
But then they started making toilets and stuff.
like it.
The sixth season?
Oh, I haven't watched it in a while.
Because I've seen all five. And there is a sixth one, but I haven't been able to find it.
I guess they air it in England first, and then we get it.
I think you're right, yeah.
Then you have to wait till it goes through all of the episodes, and then you can stream it, I guess, after that.
Where do you stream it?
HBO Max.
HBO Max?
Yeah.
No Netflix.
No Netflix.
No,
No, nothing cheap, right?
Yeah, watching TV is expensive.
I know. I've done it when you have time.
After dinner, between dinner and
He's working.
Yuck.
Catches never sleep.
That's right.
Really?
Okay, so I got a little bottle shape, and then I need newspaper,
That's too
and
much.
I'm going to take 2 boards.
Oh, ouch.
Look at that.
I worked so hard getting it round, and now you're gonna say it.
I'm going to squish it.
Oh, that's gonna look good.
So this is how you make a flask.
Look at that.
Thank you.
Love it.
And
I even like the curved top. Yeah.
So
Take
you
that
just
away.
wait.
There he goes. He's there he
so now, so you stop there, you got a little flask, or if you want to do this, you can take your fingers and start massaging that metal in.
Oh, baby.
And you're looking inside.
Just like that.
So now they're touching on the inside. Then I can go.
Oh, you go right on through it. How clever.
Yeah. Open that up a little.
Get fancy. Everybody in this room is gonna try this. Right. Well, we'll have to make a base first. What do you want?
The wire tool.
Let me bring that piece in next time.
So I'll hold this up for you to see.
I like it, yeah.
Very
nice.
So you would spend time, cleaning up that hole and smoothing in your seams.
Or you hand it over to me and I'll finish it for
There you
you,
go.
and then I
Well, I want to know the why.
my rim a little thicker. Take a potter's knife like that and just split it right down the center of your rim. That. And smooth those down. And then you have a bunch of different decorating options. You can little spout looking things.
Technical term.
Like that. You can just push down the outside one a little bit. Like that. You could just keep playing around with your edges. Do all kinds of things.
I hope everybody got to see that.
The Snapchat pottery demo. Isn't that Snapchat that disappears after a second?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so split your rim. And if you want to go in like with this tool and lay it down on the outside,
Sure.
you can do that. And that. Yeah, there's a lid, exactly. And then you could play around with the edge of that one that you threw down. I can take my corner of my rib and support underneath it with my finger and push down little triangles like that. So I'm holding like this and I'm just pressing down on the edge. I'll show you on this side. That. And I kind of pull outward as I push it down. That. So it makes it like a sunflower or something. Swirl in the bottom. So for people in the back, I've always been here. It's like
I don't know when it was built. It's been here a long time.
Long time.
Fabulous studio.
First time you heard it?
what's that?
The first time you heard it.
I've never been here before. Yeah.
Oh.
Go back.
Go back.
Garrett, you're old enough.
I know. So Chris and I would look like all the stuff to do here. It's amazing. Like,
Well over 200 different activities.
yeah. Like if you're ever bored here, you've got a problem. Yeah, horse riding, golf.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Wheat
All
shop.
kinds of sports.
There's a fantastic wheat shop here.
I saw, yeah. Char brought me to all the shops. It's amazing.
When you're moving in.
Yeah, right?
It's a bit of a drive from here to Huntington Beach.
A little bit. The day I retire, I'll be here.
That's what a lot of us do.
You don't have to wait until you're
So there's a lot of techniques where I will throw a cylinder and then really smash it in narrow like that. And then from there, you can use like the serrated ribs and scrape lines up. Have you guys ever done that where it twists? You want to see a twisty pot? Yeah, let's do a really fast twisty pot first. Okay, that serrated rib. Oh no, I'll do this and then.
So I can go.
Yeah, so you can do
right.
that, and then I'll do the twisty one while you're trying this. Okay, one of us has a brain that works. The black slip back there. So that mason stain stuff is what makes the slip. I put 10% mason stain into just porcelain slip.
It needs to be the same clay.
In an ideal world, yes, but this is not. This is porcelain slip, and it's going to go on this stoneware, but that'll be fine. So scrape the slip off there. Yeah, but you weigh things when they're powders. So, 100 grams of porcelain white powder with 10 grams of black mason stain.
Can you really do what you're doing now in that fire? It's two different kinds of clay.
Sure, yeah.
It's just slips.
It's just slip. Yeah.
It's green clay with slip.
Yeah, the only place you get in trouble when you're mixing clays is like if you're doing that marble technique. If you're mixing porcelain with a stoneware with a lot of sand in it, and you're doing like a marble technique, when it fires, sometimes you'll get a split between the two, and it's all about how clays shrink. The porcelain shrinks at a different rate than the stoneware. But for a thin little coat like this, it's not going to matter. Have you guys ever done blindfolded throwing?
No. I've seen it enough.
My brother was kind of like that.
We did that.
Do they love it?
Oh yeah.
The evil side.
Yeah. Or put a bunch of like green slip in their water, and then they take their thing off and their pot's all green. Is there like a Halloween celebration here?
At the equestrian center.
Yeah, different clubs have it.
Yeah, this afternoon, yeah.
You guys all dress up for Halloween?
We decorate our golf cart.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to do that when I was in the 18 my daughter's spent a fortune buying all kinds of stuff. Garbage. It's probably still in the closet somewhere.
Every year for Halloween, Christy helps me do the scariest costume I could possibly do at school, and then I run around and scare kids. And in the building I teach in, there's a hallway coming in, so I hide behind the door when kids are coming out. I jump out and I have a can full of coins and I rattle it. And I have kids, and you can't tell who it is behind my makeup usually. And so I've had kids like punch me and throw their lunch in the air.
My kids were little, I did that. They went to make all around neighborhood, screeching, scaring the heck out of all the little kids. I had more fun.
I was a ghost runner for a bit, that's what I've been doing, but then I heard kids say,
Don't go there. You're right. They're in their 50s. They're
I had a girl in class one time, and she knew that I had dressed up for Halloween, so she told me, "You cannot be a clown because I have a phobia of clowns. They scare me to death." So I was a clown. There's this TV show, American Horror Story, and there's this clown on it. It's just terrifying.
horrible.
Yeah, horrible.
Awful.
So I was that clown. Right, exactly. So the girl, she walked to my room. She saw me. She burst out crying, and she ran out of the room. I never saw her the rest of the day. She went home.
Oh. And you feel good about that?
I was. No. I felt kind of bad.
well, we have a
Just
very
kind of.
active clown club here.
What?
Yes.
No way. A clown club?
You name it, there's a whole.
Wow.
Anybody here?
We got a club for everything.
Yeah, we do. Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to take this, and I can go wavy, like that, or I can go straight. Daiso, by the way.
Well,
Decorate.
it's cheaper than Home Depot.
Yeah,
Same
right?
thing.
Or Aardvark. Aardvark would sell this for $20, and Daiso
course.
sells it for 99 cents. So do whatever you're gonna do, and then you go in, open that back up, tie it in.
Jeez. I can't believe that. It scares me when you stick your hand in there.
Twist. Then I'll go in and scoop it out.
Oh, you're moving it from the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm holding the
it's
rim
swollen.
steady, and I'm stretching it from the inside.
Oh, I think it's great. I don't know this.
It stretches it open.
That's pretty cool.
So they're probably
And then
3/4 of an inch maybe.
How much he's paid to do it.
something fun to do with this is when it's almost bone dry, you can put colored slip on it and then let it go bone dry, and then you sand the surface. So you've sanded away all the slip except what filled in those lines. So you're inlaying those lines with colored slip or an underglaze. On it.
Nice.
Oh, that's cute. Look at it. It's anywhere.
One size fits all.
So cute. And it really does make a huge difference.
Yeah, right? Okay, so sodium silicate it's a liquid that when it dries, it's like a sugary crust. And it's just a chemical.
Is that pot this?
Oh.
This is the one I just threw and put the black slip on.
Oh, okay. What is
So-
that again, sir?
Sodium silicate. And it dries really, really hard. So if you splash it onto your bat and let it dry, it's really hard to scrape off. So you want to wash your bat off as soon as you do it. And then same with your brush. You don't want it to dry on your brush. Okay. So one coat of that. And then you want to dry it just so it's dry to the touch, because it's gonna make this little sugary crust on the outside. And then I'm gonna stretch it out, and it's gonna pull all that black apart. I'm gonna do kind of exactly what I did on the other one. This is great.
Yeah.
What time is it?
6 more minutes.
Almost one.
Is it okay if we go longer? Like you guys?
Yes, it's okay.
As long as you're okay. I'm not paying you overtime.
Is that overtime? Yeah. So I'll do a thrown and altered one. Which are I like doing these. These are fun. So, you know, at some point in your life, you get tired of making round pots. So start playing around with the shapes. Has anyone been to Japan? Been to Japan? Did you go to any potteries there? Nice. It's amazing.
He still makes money.
The way the Japanese support like all the potters is just incredible. But I went to one pottery in town Bizin, and there was a guy making sake bottles, and he had a pile of clay this big. Oh, it's throwing up the hump. Yeah, he was throwing off the hump these bottles. So you would throw a bottle and then cut it off and set it on a board, and it looked like they were just pumped out of a machine. They were just perfectly the exact same. And I mean, the guy'd been doing it his entire life probably. It was pretty amazing to see.
What are you making this time?
I'm gonna throw a little cylinder and then alter it to just play with the shape. And then you want to, can you blow dry that wax a little bit just to make sure that that's dry?
On this bowl?
Yeah.
It's dry.
Oh, it is? Okay, good.
It is.
Perfect.
I think the blow dryer will heat it up again.
Okay, so one thing you do is a little spiral coming up it. So you take your fingertip, shape it into like a little bit of a pot here. And then if you push from the inside with your finger and come up faster than the wheel's turning, it'll give you like a barbershop pole spiral. So I'm going to hold the rim steady, my finger in there. Little spiral. Finish off the top. So I'll do a lot of stuff with that. I'll go in, back in here. And without the wheel spinning, you can shape it in a square. Something, you know, a little different. While I'm all dirty, I'll do the crackle one, and then we'll do the glaze on that one.
Too late.
Okay, so, and then we'll go in, and I hold my hand like a drill when I'm doing this.
Watch closely.
It's like a magic show.
It is.
So see how it starts to
So it's almost like fireworks.
You won't crack.
And again, I can't touch the outside.
Yeah.
So it's stretching that skin, and that sodium silicate is kind of helping pull it apart.
Say I'll be happy.
And so the further you stretch it out, the wider the cracks get.
So, when you covered it with slip, how thick were the walls?
They were quite thick. They were
Half an inch?
half,
At least.
yeah, half an inch. This would make a good, like, if you roll the top inward. And then put a lid on it. Give you like a jar. And then the bottom would get trimmed away.
It doesn't even need handles.
Do not put handles on that.
And do not smush that.
Yeah, we'll keep this one. Oh yeah.
I must go to pursue my other passion of seeing the tea time. It was wonderful. The only reason I'm leaving is because I have a tea time in 45 minutes.
Oh, good luck.
That's my other passion.
Good luck.
Talk about never being bored, right?
Right.
Yeah, right?
It was just wonderful, Garrett.
Good.
Probably the
Glad
best
you-
demo I think I've ever seen.
Glad
Sorry,
you enjoyed
Greg.
it. Thank you.
Never demoed it.
Right.
And I hear golf is super cheap here too. It's not expensive.
It is.
To make a color. If it has the color in the silicone already,
Okay.
Yeah, but
you have
it's,
to put another color of anything on.
Crowded. A lot of people out there playing golf.
Right?
Firstly. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So, I'll start in the middle here. So
which
it's
oxide is this again?
the rutile and cobalt. So right there, that little streak, that's where the wax didn't go. And where it's kind of beating up, that's where the wax is. And that's going to be the edge of the wax out there. So just a few places where the wax didn't go. And then where it beads up on the wax, you can leave those, and when the wax burns away, those beads just drop down and they stick. Or if you want to clean it up and get rid of some of those, you would take a little baby sponge and kind of wipe those off.
So is this where the wax beaded?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
And then I could do maybe a little line next to my brown line. That. That's maybe a little blue.
This makes it look like so much fun, as opposed to
Yeah, it's just,
anxiety.
yeah, it's just plain.
Anxiety.
And glazing is the hardest part of this whole thing. Like, yeah, making the stuff is easy. Glazing it is just
And when the glaze doesn't come out and you spent all that time making it, you're like,
exactly.
Can you reglaze this stuff?
no.
No.
Yeah, so you just take so many nice pieces and you glaze them, and then you're just like, wow.
Yeah.
So you could like,
Cool.
I could leave this here, and you guys could all come around and just do stuff to it. And even if you carve, it's going to be white. And this is a good way to get really fine line designs, which you would do this sitting down is probably better. Like if you want to do like lettering or something, this is a good way to do it. Little. And then when you fire this with a clear glaze over it or a Celadon or something, those lines stay exactly where they are because this gets bisque fired, and then now that is the skin of your pot. They're not going to bleed or anything like that. So you can get really cool fine line designs if you want to do lettering on it or something or whatever. And you only have to carve through to the clay. You don't need to dig into the clay very, very deeply at all.
That was black underglaze on there?
That was black slip, which
Black
is the
slip,
same
yeah.
thing as underglaze essentially. And sgraffito is sgraffito. Oh, it's SG. And it's either FFITO or FITTO. I've seen it
I think
spelled.
it's FITTO.
Is it? Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go.